Now, let's discuss about Cholinomimetics. At first, we will look upon muscarinic agonists. These directly activate muscarinic receptors, usually producing excitatory effects. An important exception is the heart, where activation of the predominantly M2 receptors has inhibitory effects on the rate and force of atrial contraction. The M2 receptors are negatively coupled by a G protein, G1, to adenylyl cyclase, which explains the negative inotropic effect of acetylcholine. Subunits of G1 directly increase K+ conductances in the heart, causing hyperpolarization and bradycardia. Acetylcholine stimulates glandular secretion and causes contraction of smooth muscle by activating M3 receptors, which are coupled to the formation of inositol, 1,4,5-trisphosphate, and diacylglycerol. INS-P3 increases cytosolic calcium, thus triggering muscle contraction or glandular secretion. An intravenous injection of acetylcholine causes vasodilatation indirectly by releasing nitric oxide from vascular endothelial cells. However, most blood vessels have no parasympathetic innervation, and so the physiological function of vascular muscarinic receptors is uncertain. Now let's discuss choline esters. Bethanyl is a quaternary compound that does not penetrate the blood-brain barrier. Its actions are much more prolonged than those of acetylcholine because it is not hydrolyzed by cholinesterase. Pilocarpine possesses a tertiary nitrogen atom, which confers increased lipid solubility. This enables the drug to penetrate the cornea readily when applied locally and enter the brain when given systemically. Now, let's talk about anticholinesterases. These are indirectly acting cholinomimetics. The commonly used anticholinesterase drugs are quaternary compounds that do not pass the blood-brain barrier and have negligible central effects. They are poorly absorbed orally. Physostigmine is much more lipid-soluble. It is well absorbed after oral or local administration, for example as eye drops, and passes into the brain. Talking about its mechanism of action. Initially, acetylcholine binds to the active site of the esterase and is hydrolyzed, producing free choline, an acidylated enzyme. In a second step, the covalent acetyl enzyme bond is split with the addition of water. Edrophonium is the main example of a reversible anticholinesterase. It binds by electrostatic forces to the active site of the enzyme. It does not form covalent bonds with the enzyme and so is very short-acting, 2 to 10 minutes. The carbamate esters, for example neostigmine, pyridostigmine, undergo the same two-step process as acetylcholine, except that the breakdown of the carbamylated enzyme is much slower, 30 minutes to 6 hours. Organophosphorus agents result in a phosphorylated enzyme active site. The covalent phosphorus enzyme bond is very stable and the enzyme is inactivated for hundreds of hours. For this reason, the organophosphorus compounds are referred to as irreversible anticholinesterases. They are extremely toxic and are used as insecticides, parathione, malathione, and chemical warfare agents, for example sarin. Malathione is used topically in the treatment of scabies and head lice. The effects of anticholinesterases are generally similar to those produced by the directly acting muscarinic agonists. But, in addition, transmission at the neuromuscular junction is potentiated. The cholinesterase inhibitors produce less vasodilatation than the directly acting agonists because they can only act on the few vessels possessing cholinergic innervation. Also, stimulation of sympathetic ganglia may oppose the vasodilator effects of the drug. Only large toxic doses of anticholinesterase produce marked bradycardia and hypotension. Toxic doses initially cause signs of extreme muscarinic stimulation, meiosis, salivation, sweating, bronchial constriction, bronchosecretion, vomiting, and diarrhea. Excessive stimulation of nicotinic receptors may cause depolarizing neuromuscular blockade. If the drug is lipid-soluble, for example organophosphorus compounds, except ecophyopate, convulsions, coma, and respiratory arrest may occur. Strong nucleophiles, for example polydioxime, can split the phosphorus enzyme bond initially formed by organophosphorus compounds and regenerate the enzyme. Later, this becomes impossible because a process of aging strengthens the phosphorus enzyme bond.